Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist. I own 53 units of real estate and I help coach people to buy their first multifamily deal. So I just filmed a podcast episode of Cam Burke and he has a really amazing story. And I just kind of want to summarize kind of the key points that I learned from him. And for context, he's 24 years old. He's based out of Oklahoma City. And if you follow my journey, you know that I own 2 apartments in Oklahoma City. So I stumbled across his YouTube video because the algorithm recommended it to me. You know, YouTube is switching towards an interest-based video watching, but his video style is like really good. Like I wish I can get to that point where he basically films himself in his car. So he has someone recording him in his car and he's driving to his flips or driving to his rental properties. And he's literally just dropping knowledge, dropping gems, dropping value while driving, and then he gets to his flip or his rental and he literally just does a video walkthrough of what he's doing for the flip, or he's doing a walkthrough of a rental property he's analyzing and looking at. And I told him that I wish my content could be at that level, but because I invest out of state, it's like I don't have any active rentals that I'm renovating in California. All of mine are in Oklahoma or in Alabama, and I'm not gonna fly out there to do, daily videos. So I kind of told him that his video style is like Sam Solmack, where it's kind of like that bodybuilder where he's just driving, talking, like filming himself while driving, telling what he's going to do, dropping value, and then filming himself doing a workout. And it's very raw, very authentic. And you just can tell in his videos that he is highly knowledgeable. So, sorry for that huge side tangent. I like to go on rants and then he likes to go on rants too. So it's kind of funny how we connected over that. And you should check out his YouTube channel. He's super successful. Like he has more subscribers than me. His content's better than mine, if I'm being honest. And he posted for your videos. So he understands the content game. And I told him that on the podcast, he's killing it and he's doing content the right way, the way I wish I could do it, right? Like I wish I could film myself in my car, driving to my flip or my renovation and just give you an update on my renovations. Cause it's a lot more immersive and it's a better story progressing versus just me sitting here talking. So anyways, back to Cam. So he's 24 years old. He's wise beyond his years. He basically owns 50 units, and I think he's mostly doing single family homes, maybe a duplex, maybe a fourplex. And he basically did this at 24 years old. So I thought I was impressive at 35 years old. So I'm 11 years older than him. So he's born in, must be 2001. And I thought I was hot stuff owning 53 units of real estate by 35. But like I said, you always get humbled. So this guy is 24 years old. He came from no money. He actually came from, he was telling me that he started off living in a mobile home. And he was helping his mom make money by selling marijuana. At the time, marijuana was not legal in Oklahoma. It is now. And obviously I'm in California, so marijuana's been legal here for a while too, but he didn't know any better. He was just helping his mom at 14 years old, basically sell marijuana in Oregon or out of state to make a living, to make money in order to pay the rent for the mobile home. And so what I take from that story was that he kind of grew up, I would say, not middle class, maybe not poverty, but somewhere in between. And despite that disadvantage, and his mom was in prison and got caught at one point, so he basically had to grow up very fast, which shows me why he's wise beyond his years. Like the amount of knowledge and experience he has at 24 years old is super crazy and super impressive, right? The knowledge that he has at 24 is what I developed a year ago, if not today. So what's great about his story? So he has an entrepreneurial bug and he had it early. He knew that maybe school wasn't his thing or a W-2 job wasn't his thing. So he knew college wasn't a thing for him. And I think this is gonna be more common with Gen Z that, hey, if you know that college isn't for you, why go into debt? Why waste 4 years? I get it. It's fun to party in college. You meet friends. It's a once in a lifetime experience. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed my college experience, but if you're picking a major that doesn't really make much money, that going to give you student debt and waste 4 years, you're better off just going to the work or trying your business. So he started off, basically flipping appliances that you find in Facebook Marketplace, flipping used cars that he would buy, fix up, and flip it. So he was always flipping something. So he was flipping appliances, he was flipping used cars, and then he progressed into flipping real estate. He got his real estate license, didn't know much about it, and then started going into the business, right? And now, fast forward today, he flips a lot of real estate. He owns a real estate brokerage. He owns 50 units himself. He owns some commercial strip centers, some small apartment complexes of a 50-50 partner. And he built all this at the same time. And despite obtaining all the success at such an early age, he's so humble, he's so grounded, and he didn't lifestyle inflate. So one thing that he did that was super impressive in my mind was that he mastered delayed gratification at such a young age, in a time when, with social media, with all this stuff, it's easy to be distracted, right? So that's why I always say, like, in this day and age, it's the easiest time to get started in doing anything. Like, I can create content for free using my cell phone. I could start a business, a dropshipping business for free using Amazon or not much cost. I could start a online store using Shopify. I can create a community using School for not much money, right? Like, School cost me $9 a month. So the barrier to entry for a business is as easy as it's ever been. But on the flip side of the token, there's the most competition there's ever been. And also on top of that, there's also so many distractions, like more distractions than you would ever anticipate, right? So like, he cut through all the noise. He's not distracted by social media. He's not distracted by other things. And in fact, he's actually leveraging social media to learn and get ahead. That's where it starts to become a superpower, right? Like, the amount of knowledge that he has gained at 24 years old is insane, right? And he said that he listened to like podcasts, he read Rich Dad Poor Dad, did all the typical things, and he took action upon it. So, so what really hit home with me with Cam's story was that he practiced delayed gratification. So he said that he literally had like $10,000-$12,000 saved up at like 20 years old. And he basically bought his first house, which is a $50,000 house, not in the greatest area in Oklahoma, but it wasn't bad. And basically he lived there for like 4 or 5 years. He didn't lifestyle inflate despite having probably $250,000 to $300,000 of money in his bank, from what I remember. Correct me, you can check the podcast to validate it. But he basically had $250K in the bank, liquid, and he was living in a $50,000 house that he spent probably $15,000, $20,000 to fix up. And he basically stayed there for a long time. And he just recently upgraded to a bigger house, a newer house, a nicer house. I don't know how much it cost, but still, like, that's practicing delayed gratification. And because of that, he lived humbly. He knows that, I don't care for clothes. I don't care for food. All I care about is going on fishing trips with my family and traveling to Florida and Hawaii. Like, that's what brings him the most joy. Everything else he's very lean on. So he knows he's very intentional in how he spends his money, and he knows that he wants to save the money to go buy real estate. So he makes money doing flips, right? So he knows his market, he knows his area, and he's managing his contractors himself. Like, he's driving there doing quality assurance. So he's very hands-on, and he's basically finding flips. And what he does is, if it makes sense as a rental, he'll keep it as a rental. If it doesn't make sense as a rental, or it's cash flow negative, or the area is too bad, he'll then flip the property. So he mastered the art of not taking the temptation of a quick $30,000 check, but rather keeping that rental, renting it out, maybe getting $200, $300 a month in cash flow, and stacking those properties so that he's not forced to always work. That's the trap that flippers fall into and wholesalers fall into, right? If you're always flipping and wholesaling real estate, you just buy yourself a W-2 job, another job. But he keeps the rentals that make sense for him. And I would say he kept a lot of rentals, because he has 50 rentals, and he didn't start doing this. He started doing this in 2022 when interest rates were terrible. So he said his average interest rate is about 7.5%, right? So he's scaled to 50 units with 7.5% interest rates. But I will preface with that the price point that he's buying in is like $80,000 to $100,000. So obviously, if you're buying at $80,000 to $100,000, a 4% interest rate versus a 7.5% interest rate, it's not going to be that big of a difference in terms of your monthly payment versus if you're buying something $800,000 and you have a 4% interest rate versus 7.5% interest rate, right? So like obviously like it matters. The higher the loan amount, the interest rate spread will make a difference. But in Oklahoma City, when you're buying a $50,000, $60,000 home, there's a difference between a 4% and 7.5% interest rate. It's not going to matter as much, right? But he's able to buy these properties and basically rent them out and cash flow it. But what really hit to me was that while he's buying these properties that can burr, so he's buying it right for, let's say, $50,000. He's renovating it for, let's say, $20,000. So he's all in for $70,000, and they're maybe worth about $140,000. So basically, he doubled the value of the asset, and he can easily do the burr. And remember, the burr is you basically rent it out, and which he does, and you can then get a new loan at 75% loan to value, pull out your down payment, pull out your renovation costs, and pull a little bit extra on top of that. But he says that, you know what? I don't want to pull out my down payment. I don't want to pull out my renovation costs. I'm fronting that money. And a lot of the lenders will give him the lending costs up front, the renovation costs up front. But he says that I leave my money in the deal, and I'm okay leaving that money in the deal because I want to be able to cash flow my properties better, and I want to be able to build a solid foundation, right? So that's very wise, and that's something that I actually never burned any properties myself besides my 20 unit and the one my 53rd unit that I'm buying right now. But basically that's how you scale, because he said that he saw a lot of people who got to 100 units by using the burr method, but because they kept on leveraging and leveraging and leveraging and leveraging, they'd pull all their money every single time. They built a house of cards that would fall over, but he knows that he built a strong foundation, and his overall equity to debt position or debt to equity position was about 60%. So I don't know if it was 60% debt, 40% equity, or 60% equity and 40% debt, but in any case, he's in a strong position versus he could have leveraged to the hill, be at a 75% debt to equity position, bought more real estate and scaled. So he kind of intentionally slowed himself down. And he stacks on the cash that he makes from his brokerage, the cash that he makes from his fix and flips. And he's stacking on top of that, he's doing real estate professional status, where he's buying a property, he's doing a cost seg on the study, and he's using that cost segregation to wipe off his W-2, his 1099 income from his real estate brokerage, and the 1099 from his fix and flip. So he's optimizing for tax write-offs as well. So he's doing everything correctly, right? In my books, I'm just like, wow, that's how you play the game, right? That's how you really play the game. So he's buying the properties, he's doing a cost seg, the ones that he keeps, using that to wipe off his $20,000, $30,000 gains on his fix and flip portfolio, his income. And he told me he averages between $20,000 to $100,000. He varies from $20,000 to $100,000 a year in a month in terms of fix and flip income. But he said on average he's probably taking home around like $250,000, $300,000 a year. So basically he's wanting to buy real estate, doing cost segregation to wipe off that income so he pays no taxes on that $300,000, taking that taxable income and then reinvesting it back into his real estate, right? So basically where he mastered the game was he has two big buckets of active income, right? So bucket number one, which is the big one, is fix and flip. Bucket number two is his real estate brokerage. He makes more from his fix and flip. So he makes, let's say, $300,000 of income from both these sources of income. And then what he does is he keeps some real estate, and maybe they cash flow $200 a month, nothing crazy, but let's say he's buying it for $100,000. He's doing a cost seg on that, and he's able to maybe wipe off $30,000 of his active income. And then basically he's able to save himself another, assuming 30% tax rate, another, let's say $10,000 in taxes that he has to pay Uncle Sam. And now he's keeping that $10,000 in extra tax savings and using that to go buy more real estate that he's fixing and flipping, or using it to buy real estate that he's keeping for himself to buy and hold. So he's mastered scaling up his active W-2 income, using it to go buying real estate that he keeps himself, and using the cost segregation to wipe off his W-2 income or his income. So he got that system going well. On top of that, he's buying real estate burrs where he's buying it right, he's fixing up himself, and then he's renting it out, but he's not doing a cash out refinance to basically leverage even further. So he's not doing a cash out refinance to pull out his down payment. He's not doing cash out refinance to pull out his down payment, his renovation costs. Instead, he leaves the money in there so he has more equity in the deal, and he just saves up more money through his active income to go buy the next piece of property, whether he's saving the cash flow, his fix and flip business, and his wholesale business, or his brokerage business. So he's not leveraging as well. So he's keeping himself at a 60%, I think, debt to equity position. So he's very strong. He's on a strong foundation, right? So he, like I say, he's very wise beyond his years. A lot of people are selling you always cash out refinance, leverage to the hill, right? But you want to build a strong foundation to build upon of, right? And like, he's young, he's 24 years old. Like, he could build a strong foundation and then build up. And then what I told Cam was like, what's beautiful about owning real estate is when you want to leverage your portfolio, you could bunch a bunch of your single family homes under one portfolio loan, do a huge cash out refinance, pull out your down payment, pull out your renovation costs, pull a little bit of money on top of that, use that money to go buy something else, right? Whenever you want. So he just said that, like, he wants to build slow and steady, and I think he is, right? But I wouldn't say 50 units in, like, literally, he started like in 2020, like 2 or 2021, like in 4 years, 50 units, that's massive scale, right? So very wise beyond his years, right? And so he basically has a success formula that I see to basically hit whatever goal he wants. He wants to do $250K a year, eventually, between his fix and flip, between his real estate brokerage, and between his cash flow. And basically he wants to do that by 40 years old. So he's giving himself a 15-year time horizon. So I shared all that because I want to share what traits make Cam successful. Number one, delayed gratification. He is making a lot of money, and despite making all this money, he lived in a $50,000 home, right? Like, for me, I was living at home in my mom's house in the downstairs bedroom, and I was making like close to $200,000 as a pharmacy director, and that's massive delayed gratification, right? I did that, helped me lay my financial foundation. Cam is doing that, and that's how he's built up his financial real estate empire, right? And he was just like, I could literally own this house in cash, but I was still living there. So number one, delayed gratification, right? Number two is he's very intentional how he spends his money. He prioritizes spending money on fishing trips, on vacation, on travel. Like, he doesn't care so much about, material goods, getting nicer cars. Like he said, yes, I can get a nice truck. It'll feel good for a little bit, but I know that I'll go back down to baseline after a few months. Number three is that he actually enjoys the process of doing fix and flip, of finding good deals, of owning rental properties, and creating content. So he's focused on enjoying the process, right? And, he is a young guy, 24 years old. You should be in the grind. But I told him, I'm like, dude, like, one day you can be like 29 years old in 5 years and just say, you know what? I don't want to fix and flip anymore. I don't want to manage my brokerage anymore. I'm okay with like not having an active income, and I just can live off my passive income from my real estate. And at that point, you can literally like sell half your portfolio and pay off the other half, own it free and clear, and then you're done for the rest of your life, right? And you live in a lower cost of living area like Oklahoma, so you can do that, right? So you have options is what I'm telling them. Like, you don't have to do this forever. You can, yes, you're motivated today, but maybe in 5-10 years, you have kids, you have a family, your motivations will change, your priorities will change, and you don't want to do it anymore, but you have options because you built up you've grinded since you're 18 years old. And if you continue grinding until you're 30, like, by all means, you can retire without having to do a single thing, right? But if you enjoy it and you enjoy the journey, you enjoy the process, great, right? So that's what I'm saying. He understands that as well. And the next thing that he has is he is very realistic in his timelines. Like, he doesn't want get rich quick. He wants to get rich for sure. So that's why he's buying real estate at a slow and steady pace. He's not doing the BRRRR method. He's leaving the equity in the deal. He's leaving his money in the deal because he wants to hold this for a long term. So to me, he's just doing everything like correctly. Like I said, he's 24 years old. I knew nothing at 24 years old, right? Like I just was a new grad pharmacist, clueless about life, and my parents were middle class. He grew up in a more tougher situation, was still grateful for that. And he could have easily went down the wrong path, but he decided to become an entrepreneur and do it right and do it well and do it with the right mindset. So he has a long time horizon. He said that if I hit 250K a month. By 40, I'm good. That's 16 years from now, right? So he's thinking in decades, not years. I want this now. The next thing he's mastered is being grateful and having gratitude, right? It's easy to fall into the trap of, well, I wish I had more, but he's grateful, right? And the other thing that he's doing that's very well is that you can tell just by talking to him in his content, he knows his stuff. Like, you can tell when someone's talking, like, he doesn't pre-record, he speaks from the heart, he speaks from his experience. Like, he knows a lot, right? Like, you can tell when he's talking, he knows a lot. Like, you couldn't tell that he never went to college, right? Like, he speaks so well, he's so coherent, very eloquent, very knowledgeable. And this is just him based on his experience. And that's when you know, right? Like, you can tell he owns 50 units. You can tell he's done a lot of fix and flips. You can tell he owns a real estate brokerage. So, like, he's just speaking from the heart, speaking from experience. So, like you said, like, you can tell. Like, I see a lot of people on Bigger Pockets. They talk a big game, but you can tell they don't really do much, or maybe they're part of a syndication group and they own 50 units, but they own like 2% of 50 units. Versus, like, I own 50 units myself, Cam owns 50 units himself, and it speaks, you can tell based on the way he talks and the way he does things. And even like connecting with me, he was just like, I don't connect with most people, but because he saw my channel, it could see that I was very raw, I was very authentic, and I knew my stuff. He was like, I want to connect with this guy, right? So, like, game recognizes game, right? For lack of a better word. And one piece of advice that I gave him was that, like, his goal was to, like, basically get a home in Hawaii, get a home in Florida, because he likes the area, he likes to travel there. Obviously, he likes the boat. And I just said, dude, like, obviously, if you sold some of your real estate now, you could live some iteration of that, right? Like, you don't need to own a home in Hawaii. Like, Hawaii is very expensive, right? It probably takes $3 to $5 million to get a home in Hawaii, or unless you get something cheaper, but maybe you can get a condo in Hawaii for like $1 million. In Florida, it's a lot cheaper. You can probably get something in Florida for like $250,000. So let's just call it $1.3 million to get your goal, right? So obviously, at his pace, he's probably going to get there, where he can own the house there and live his dream life. But I just told him, like, dude, like, right now, even right now, with how you currently are, you could literally, maybe you can't own a boat yet, or it doesn't make sense to own a boat yet, but you can rent a boat for a week and still have the same experience in, Florida or in Maui. You could rent a Airbnb in Hawaii or Florida for like a month and then have that same experience without hitting your goal yet. So basically, I was trying to tell him, enjoy the journey, right? Like, if you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling tired, take a 2, 3, 4 week break and then do that, right? Live your dream life. Get a taste of that dream life, right? Like, just keep on going, because there'd be periods when, you feel burnt out. So I just told him, like, dude, like, and I was telling him, because I'm telling myself that, like, my dream life is being able to travel probably 6 times a year, 6 to 8 times a year, probably half international, half in the States, between 1 week to about 4 weeks at a time. And I'm still living that dream life today, because I travel probably 4 times a year, at least 3 to 4 times a year, 2 international for sure, and then maybe 1 or 2 times locally. So, like, for example, this year I went to Costa Rica, I'm going to Vietnam, and then I went to Montana, right? So, like, I'm doing some mix of things. So there's a way to, like, enjoy some of it now, iteration of your dream life now, as you're striving for your dream life in the future. And so, like I said, super wise beyond his years. And like I said, like, I probably learned more from him than he learned from me, despite being like 10, 11 years older than him. So this is what's amazing about connecting with people who are taking action and actually doing something. Because, like, he is actively fixing and flipping in Oklahoma City. Like, maybe if it progresses, maybe I can be a private money lender for him, or I can lend him the money, and then he can basically do the fix and flip, pay me a origination fee, pay me an interest rate, and then that's how you do business together, right? So maybe he brings me a good deal in Oklahoma City, a good apartment complex where we either partner on, or he wholesales me the deal, or vice versa. Maybe I wholesale him or flip a deal over to him, right? So, like, that's where, like, relationships are made. And like you said, and he knows that, and he understands that. So, just super impressed with that story. So check out the podcast. But man, I just was blown that someone who's 24 years old, like my younger cousin's age, 50 units, He's making 250 to 300K through fix and flips through his real estate brokerage. The mindset that he has is wise beyond his years. He understands it's the journey. He has patience. He has delayed gratification. He doesn't let the success get to his head. He's process and oriented and super down to earth, super humble. Like I said, he could have used the story of his parents being in prison as a crutch, but he used it as a way to lift himself up. He didn't let it get to his head. He's not super lavish, not super extravagant. Like if you walked by him and me, you kind of tell that we both own 50 units of real estate. He basically prioritizes and knows what brings him the most happiness. He's very grateful for what he does. He looks like he prioritizes his health. Like it seems like he works out, and then he just basically keeps on going and grinding, right? Like he's just focused on like doing daily consistent action every single day, whether it's, doing cold calls, whether that's sending cold email, whether that's sending cold text or cold email. He's constantly just analyzing deals for fix and flips. And then for the ones that make sense, he keeps. For the ones that doesn't make sense, he flips it. He's just very focused and process oriented, and it shows. And he's like leveraging every single minute. Like he's even like recording himself dropping value while driving and then doing content. And he's doing content better than me, right? Like he has like, I think 16K, 17K subscribers. His videos do well. Great story, like of him driving, being recorded, checking out the property. He's dropping value. He's showing his numbers, like super down to earth, right? Like that's it. That's real estate investing. Like you don't need this fancy editing, selling you this hopium. Like that's it. Like watch his content. That's it. Like that's what I've been trying to like portray, because I feel like Bigger Pockets was bad at doing that, and a lot of the real estate investors are bad at doing that. They're trying to sell you their syndication. They're trying to sell you a course, but like it's really the raw authenticity of it is what makes it real. And like I'm looking forward to me and him going on his channel and doing a live stream, because you can learn from two investors who collectively own 100 units of real estate in Oklahoma and like pick our brain. And we have no partners, we have no BS, we're unfiltered, we just give real talk, right? Like that's insanely valuable. People pay $20,000-$30,000 to have access to that type of information, and then him and I are dropping it for free, right? That's why it's super crazy in this day and age. And like I said, super humble guys. Like I think by the time he's my age, like in 10 years, like I don't even know, like he's probably gonna hit his goal by 35 of 250K a year. He's probably gonna have like a 200, 300 plus real estate portfolio that he owns himself. Like once he scales up into multifamily real estate, like once he starts getting small apartment complexes, I totally see him doing it, right? Like getting a 30 unit, 50 unit, like what I'm doing. Once he stacks up a few of these, my God, like the sky's the limit for this guy. He's only 24 years old. And like I said, super humble, and like he was impressed by me, but I was more impressed by him. But he still kept it open. I can tell during the conversation, during the podcast, he was listening to nuggets that I was saying because he wanted to learn from me, right? And he was picking it up, like, oh, he does direct mail, he does multifamily, he goes off market. He picked up a 26 unit for $500,000, right? So he knows like that's a unicorn deal. So, like I said, like looking forward to like collaborating with Cam over the next, hopefully multiple years, whether it's on his channel, my channel, doing podcasts. Like if I go down to Oklahoma, because I have another apartment complex under deal, would love to like meet with him in person, collaborate some content together in person, check out the apartment and all that. So that's why like really excited to network. Like I said, like social media content is the greatest business card there is. That's why I'm like trying to double down on it more, posting daily on YouTube. Now I'm trying to post daily on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts on top of that, because I finally found something called Metricool, which allows me to schedule content on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts simultaneously at one click. So it made my life easier, because I hated with Instagram, you can't schedule it, TikTok, you can't schedule it. So now I'm trying to increase my reach and increase my content and be consistent, because just talking to Cam reminded me that it's small daily actions, and like it just super pumped me up to see a 24-year-old killing it, taking that consistent action, and it motivated me, right? Like I said, like I want him to win. I want him to be successful because it motivates me, and I want to learn from him as well. So those are the type of people you want to surround yourself with, right? So maybe one day I hope to bring Cam onto my school community to do like a live Q&A once it gets bigger. so that you guys can get the value for like $1 a day. It's pretty expensive. But anyways, just want to talk about how much I learned from this 24-year-old real estate investor, super successful, super, he's gonna surpass me. I know for sure. Once he gets into apartments, and I'll help him get there, right? Like I totally will help him get there. So like I said, check out his channel. It's Cam Burke. Check out the podcast episode. And if you want to join the school community for $1 a day, you want to send me an email, you want my coaching, you want my mentorship, you want to join my newsletter, if you want to connect with me, click on my link tree down below. You can see links to all that. Otherwise, please like, comment, subscribe. Hope to see you next one. Thank you so much.